So good afternoon and welcome everyone to the DC Public Library Women's Behind the Mic event. I am Tiffany Alston and I am the Chief of Public Services here at the DC Public Library. And as we gather during Women's History Month, we spotlight the remarkable women whose contributions have been instrumental, yet often overlooked in hip hop. These executives, producers, lawyers, and connectors have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to elevate the hip-hop culture. Hip-hop is a powerful expression, giving a voice to mainstream narratives often ignored. Among these voices, women have played a crucial role using their vision and tenacity to ensure that these essential stories are heard loudly and clearly. Today, we celebrate these trailblazers who, without waiting for recognition or permission, and I love that, have pushed boundaries and opened doors, amplifying raw, unfiltered truths. Their work mirrors the mission of libraries worldwide, to provide a platform where all perspectives and voices can be preserved and accessed by future generations. In the spirit of Women's History Month, let's honor these women for their unwavering advocacy for equity, diversity, and inclusion. Through their groundbreaking efforts, they've shaped the hip-hop's trajectory and forged paths for future generations, challenging systematic biases and breaking ceilings along the way. Our panel today includes pioneers whose stories of perseverance and innovation remind us of women's critical role in driving hip-hop from the underground to the mainstream. They exemplify the courage and creativity crucial in evolving this genre. As we listen to their narratives and celebrate their achievements, let us commit to sharing and elevating these stories as well. Your presence here today is a testament to the importance of this cause. Let this event both be a tribute and a call to action to recognize, uplift, and advocate for the incredible women who have helped shape the culture of hip-hop. Together, let's ensure that their legacies are not forgotten, but celebrated and built upon by generations to come. We're deeply grateful for the DC Public Library Foundation for their generous support, which makes transformative cultural programs like this one possible. Thank you for being here to honor the women behind the mic, the unsung hip-hop heroines whose stories are an integral part of America's full authentic soul. And it's with pleasure that I now introduce Jamise Harper, who is the creator of Diverse Spines and the Diverse Spines book community, which highlights literature by Black women and women of color. She is the co-author with Jane Mount of Bibliophile, Diverse Spines, a richly illustrated and vastly inclusive collection that uplifts the works of authors who are often underrepresented in the literary world. Jamise is also the founder of the Spines and Vines, a social media platform dedicating to enhancing reading experiences with curated book and wine pairings. That's nice. She is a member of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc. Give y'all a moment. And lives in the Washington, D.C. area. Again, it is my pleasure to welcome Ms. Jamise Harper.
I heard my sorors out here. Ooh. How are you all doing? Happy Women History Month. I am so honored to be in this space again, hosting another amazing event. Today we are giving flowers to the women behind the mic, Black women who blazed the trail for so many and who championed the culture of a genre that no one expected to last, hip-hop. I'm sure you all have vivid memories of when you fell in love with hip-hop, don't you? Right. And so we're here to have a good time and celebrate the women behind the mic. And now it's time to meet the women behind the mic, our panelists. So before we get started, give it up for these women, please. You can do better than that. Give it up for them. Yes. So I would like to bring to the podium DJ Indy with a tribute to women behind the mic.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much for being here. We truly appreciate you. I'm going to do a tribute. Give me a second. Let's do this right. And it's a tribute by LaJoyce Brookshire. Women behind the mic. Making the deals behind the mic is her game. And I bet you don't even know her name. What a shame. Discovering and developing stars for the stages, quietly earning those six-figure wages. She's in charge of the show and the flow. And if you don't know, you never know. She's the one in the room you need to mention. Class, I apologize. She's the one in the room you need to mention. Working that Black girl magic, so pay attention. Classy, sassy, fabulous and fashiony. Making moves behind the mic. Working millions of hits you know we like. Sure, you can be a star and be done. Question, have you got the skills it takes to make one? They built a strong and unique sisterhood, planting them in record books as history should. Their contributions to this music game have been significant. For decades, they've moved in stealth mode like the Syndicate. Now, the behind-the-scenes stories are about to be told in truthfulness through books, documentaries, lectures. It's voluminous. Asking yourself, how can I be down? Pay attention and stick around. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready is the best advice ever. Get some education for success of any future endeavor. The only way to attain a seat at this table is to put in the work to prove that you're able. What is the acumen behind the mic plight? Ask the women, and it will be done right. Who cranked out the songs you know we like? Now you know it was the women behind the mic. Thank you.
What a perfect way to start off. The question I'm sure everyone wants to know is, what was the inspiration for women behind the mic? What made you want to write these books? Because we have volume 1, and now we have volume 2, the hip hop edition, right? So what made you want to tell the story?
The inspiration behind Women Behind the Mic, volumes 1 and 2, was a result of being erased from the conversation about music in general, and even more specifically hip-hop. As the 50th anniversary had been celebrated, women have been glaringly absent. You've seen it. Have you heard about any of us? And so it wasn't their responsibility to tell our stories. It's our responsibility to tell our own stories. We got a little angry, a little pissy, and when we saw certain documentaries where we were blatantly not mentioned, and it said, you know what, I'm tired. I'm tired, And we called our sisters, asked them to scrape off the cobwebs off those memories and get to work. And our sisters overwhelmingly responded. In volume 1, there are 22 stories. Now in volume 1 and 2, there are 21 stories for you to enjoy. And people are asking, oh, how many more volumes could you possibly have? Excuse me? What you don't know is that women worked behind the scenes at every label, at every film company, at every television station, at every radio station. And no one makes mention. So we have to put an end to erasure, because you know what? It is not just occurring in the entertainment industry, it is occurring in every profession. And that we have to stop.
And so I guess anyone can, that's, it's very powerful, but I also think that, with the erasure of women, it just further creates the lies that we weren't there, and especially when it comes to Black women, right? And so I want to ask you, for those of you, yeah, y'all probably know, I'm gonna have my brown sugar moment. Those who know. When did you fall in love with hip hop? And I'm gonna start with Audra and work our way down.
I fell in love. Is this one? Okay. I fell in love with hip hop growing up in New York, and I am proud to say that I'm a high school Catholic school girl, and so I had to wear a uniform, and I fell in love with hip hop when I heard Roxanne Shante. That was it. That was it for me. That was the trajectory that I needed growing up as a female in New York, wearing a Catholic school uniform, and the lyrics that she was spitting, nobody could come up to me and, try to run game. It was over. It was over. That's when the bamboo earrings, her haircut, going and sneaking out to go to Harlem World to see hip hop in its rawest element, that was it for me. That changed.
And for me, I'm right across the bridge. So I'm actually from Jersey City, New Jersey, the projects of Booker T. And I came up when all this was just beginning. So when people ask me that question, it's a little difficult because I loved everything about hip hop. I saw the B-boys dancing and break dancing. We did things in the park. Everything happened at the back. Well, I shouldn't really say the park. It was more like a basketball court with a big old red bench in the middle. And then it could be anybody spitting something. And it could be from the girls who were absolutely just as good as the boys. And then, that's why for me, lyricism is so important. It's so important because I remember people being able just to be given a word, and that could be a whole thing. And you could have 4 different guys just saying something completely different from the same word, and it would just go on and on. But if I have to say, one of the songs that hit me the most would have to be The Message.
Unequivocally, Rapper's Delight. I was starting high school when Rapper's Delight came out. My entire family was into music. Some of my family were musicians. My mother actually was a gospel singer as a young girl. And when my father bought that song in the house, I went absolutely crazy. And actually, that's how I wrote my essay for this book. But living in New York City, I lived in Brooklyn. Hip hop, right, always the planet, right? Hip hop it became our world. So we could hear the songs on the radio, but we could also go to the people's houses. We could go to, as you said, if the park was actually a real place. We could go to the park and hear them rap. We could, like she said, it was the Sugar Hill Gang. It was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. It was Melly Mel. It was Run DMC, LL Cool J. It was just the personas were bigger than life. And then the person who actually ultimately brought me into the game, he was representing Biggie Smalls, but we met when we were 9 years old. So we literally were on this journey forever. When hip hop celebrated 50 years, we celebrated 50 years of friendship. Awesome.
Of course, I love when the macaroni soggy and the chicken's wet and the peas are wet. The peas are soggy, mushed, and the chicken ain't no good. Yes, of course. But the song that cemented it for me was 1984 jamming at Studio 54 to Jam On It. Bum, 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 bum. And they played it every hour. And by the time we left out of there and it was daylight, I was in love.
Amazing. And so I don't want to give too much away from the book because I want you to purchase the book. So I'm not going to give too much away. But we are going to talk about the mic checks because the way this book is set up is so dope. And so I want to talk, you start with mic check 1, which is really the foundation of hip hop. And so can you talk a little bit about that, the mother of, and how that impacted your careers? And if at all it helped you go into the business? Is that why you wanted to go into the business?
Mic Check 1 is a tribute to Sylvia Robinson, who was the founder of Sugar Hill Records. And she was the mother to Joey, who was in the Sugar Hill Gang. And the woman who writes it, Terry Ellis Ewing, lived in their neighborhood. And she said she saw a limo driving down the street one day, and the window came down, and the lady said, "Excuse me, little girl with the brown hair and the pretty eyes, could you be a friend with my son? We just moved to the neighborhood." And they were like, "Don't talk to strangers, don't talk to strangers." And then she was probably 9, 8, and well, probably 9 or 12. And then she rolled down the window and saw the cute boy, and she was like, oh well, see. All right, I'll be his friend. And they ended up being boyfriend and girlfriend for many years. And she writes the story because she watched Miss Sylvia build Sugar Hill Records, and she watched Sugar Hill Gang develop. And so she had a front row seat to that. And that had a lot to do with building her business acumen. But looking at Miss Sylvia and what she accomplished, and I don't know if many of you remember, but Miss Sylvia was an R&B siren in her day. Pillow Talk was her song, and I can't sing it, or I would. But that was a bona fide hit. And she went on to, because she understood the inner workings of the industry, when she went on to have this amazing label, which was founded hip hop. And that's why it's Mic Check 1.
And give it up. And let's talk about your mic checks, because I found it fascinating with the depth and range of your careers, how you managed to get it down to 3 to 4 pages. But I also want to know, Audra, your title was The Wealth of Hip Hop Revealed. Mic Check 5. And so how did you come up with that title? We're going to go through each title, not giving away too much, but how did you come up with The Wealth of Hip Hop Revealed?
I actually leaned into LaJoyce and Michelle because I'm the money girl. I'm the royalty girl. I'm the royalty chick. So my engagement with all of the artists and the songwriters and the producers was totally different than those that worked at the label and those that actually represented the hip-hop artists and the culture. I was the one who made sure your royalties, you got a check. And you had to make sure that the songs were registered correctly. And let's make sure that if something happens to you, your estate will continue to generate and get those royalties. So for me, it was a no-brainer for them. They're like, money, show them the money. And that was I looked at me like, it's Jerry Maguire. I'm going to show you the money. I'm going to show you the money.
Thomasina?
So my mic check is the last one, Mic Check 21, and it's called Mic Check 21, The Fairy Godmother. However, I wrestled with that. LaJoyce and I went back and forth a couple times because I am a crisis management expert. That's what I do. My chapter starts at page 149. So, and so there, because I'm definitely not going to give away here, you'll see some of the, we'll say, problematic type clients that I may deal with from here and there. And I originally was going to call my chapter The Cleanup Woman. That's what I was going to call it. But then we realized that we do so much more than clean up the mess, because there's a lot that goes on in the preventative side, because everything, you don't have to wait for it to become a mess. You can absolutely do things and set yourself up so that there is no mess. You can absolutely do that, but it's a matter of being proactive as opposed to being reactive. And in that case, you know, one of the things I always say too is that as a publicist and as a working publicist, you know, everybody gonna be in your camp when the sun is shining. Everybody gonna be there when the money's flowing. Everybody's gonna be there when everybody likes you, when social media is giving you all the likes and the clicks. But who's there for you when it stops? That would be your fairy godmother.
Mic check number 9. Pamela, taking hip hop by storm.
Taking hip hop by storm is a double entendre. I represented Wayne Barrow, who introduced me to the music business, who I will forever be indebted to. And Wayne was at By Storm Entertainment, and that was the management group for Biggie Smalls. And Wayne was the brother that I told y'all I met when I was 9 years old, and Wayne and I have been rolling ever since. The By Storm part for me was I had just graduated from law school. I was 26 years old. I had managed to advise my parents to a multi-seven-figure deal, so we had a little bit of money. And Wayne said, "Are you ready to invest?" And I said, "I was waiting for you. Are you ready to roll?" Wayne met me. I handed him a certified check. He said, "I'm going to take you every place I go." And he honored that word. He took me down to the Future Studio with Teddy Riley, and a new group was filming this song called Rump Shaker. And Teddy was coming in the house, or we were in the studio. Teddy was coming, "Man, this is trash. I'm not gonna put this song out." And I'm like, "Teddy, you gotta put it out," because one of the guys in the group was giving me the opportunity to be his lawyer. And he gave me the opportunity to be his lawyer because when Wayne said, "Pam, I want you to meet someone. Come uptown, 125th Street, walk over 2 blocks, cool." I stopped everything I was doing, got really dressed up, rode uptown, walked 2 blocks. I'm sitting at the projects. I'm on the bench on 127th Street. Arkil Davidson walked outside. He was like, "You my lawyer, because you the only lawyer that ever came uptown to the projects to see me." And I was like, "My aunt lived across the street, like, what's up?" And at 26, they embraced me in that game and literally took me all over the world.
Mic check number 10. Launching the notorious VIP. Yes.
I used to joke that I had the notorious BIG and I had the notorious VIP. And the notorious VIP is Puffy. And I got Puffy because at Arista as director of publicity, I handled the bad boy artist. And one day, Mr. Davis calls me and says, "LaJoyce, I want you to, from now on, start handling Puffy as an artist. I want you to garner publicity for Puffy." I said, "Excuse me?" Like I had nothing else to do, like I needed one more act, okay. So I said, "Okay, I think I can roll with this." And it was a long and arduous tug of war with Puffy to let go of some of the lexicon and the colloquialisms he was chained to, like, "You know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, you know." "No, Puffy, we don't know what you're saying. Say what you're saying." And I charged him a quarter for every time he said it, 50 cents, until I got up to $20, and I was like, "South side of Chicago, pay me my money." Every time. So when he got tired of paying, he stopped saying, "You know what I'm saying," even to this day, I think. But present troubles notwithstanding,
Godmothers.
No comment.
Godmothers, no
not on
comment.
my
No
watch,
comment.
not on my watch. Call Thomasina. Present troubles notwithstanding, I clearly understood the assignment: protect the black boy genius, that nothing bad was happening on my watch, and No reporter was going to come and do things that we had discussed in advance that wasn't going to be or supposed to be discussed. I unplugged a microphone, and snatched video plugs out of the wall and rolled them up and pushed people outdoors. And we had a turning point with a huge article in Vanity Fair. And just like that, my little notorious VIP, which they ran with that headline, I told the girl that in privacy, and then she ran with my headline, what my inside joke. I thought, she's nuts. But she did, and just like that, like y'all say, he went from bad boy antics to international star.
And so I want to talk a little bit about the conversation. You know, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And so we talked about erasure and how we're not hearing about the women. And I want to know, what would you like to see changed in this conversation? What do you want to see brought to the forefront? Yes, Pamela.
In our community, we have to be real honest about sexism. I know it's hard. I learned, thankfully, in 1992 that I can't separate being black and female like it's icing and cake. It's the mixture, and you have to address me as such. I remember traveling with LaJoyce to Jack the Rapper. We were in Reno, Nevada, and I went to the mic and said, the hardest part about this industry for me, as soon as brothers elevated, you all started treating sisters like the people you complain about. And they were furious that I said it, but I'm from Brooklyn. I said it, I meant it, I'm here to represent it. It's like, I mean, I didn't think that I was asking for much, and I was surprised at how comfortable they were to kind of, marginalize us. And it's like, we have been easily and readily the backbone of this, and I'm not asking for much, but we can absolutely not be invisible in this space that we help create. That's correct.
We have tolerated being underestimated and marginalized for a long time. Did you know what? It's not okay anymore. It wasn't okay then. And there'll be moments like the one Pamela mentions. There'll be moments in boardrooms where I'd speak up, stand up. Michelle Joyce, my co-creator, she stands up, marches out, quick, then comes back with a resignation notice in her hand. That those kinds of things happened, and because we won't be marginalized. And if you're going to call some names, come on, y'all, let's call all the names. And that's all we're saying.
Audra, Thomasina?
Actually, I mean, honestly, they're saying the same thing that I would say, so I really don't have much more to add to that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop because I'll keep going.
For me, it was a little different because I was dealing on the opposite side of the playing field, whereas I was dealing with the ones who wrote the check versus the ones that are getting the check. And so for me, my fight internally was we have to do what's right and pay them what they are worth. And when I say pay them what they are worth, royalties are calculated. There's a formula for every performing rights organization that has its own calculation how to pay royalties, right? But at the end of the day, if that songwriter or that producer does not submit a title registration saying that they wrote the song, they're not going to get paid, period. So you can't fight the calculation, but you can make sure that even if they don't have that title registration submitted, and I was roller skating all over New York, all up and down the East Coast, making sure, Audra, we are paying you. I've never heard this, and I don't think anybody in this room will ever hear. We are paying you. We are giving you, at the age of 22, an Amex card. It is your job to go out and sign the urban writers to this society, right? Okay, well, that means I need to make sure that they have a voice when it's time to get paid on time. If the title registration is not complete, put their money on hold and I will get it fixed. As well as the way that you treat the pop artists that are part of the society, they need to be R&B or black writers or black music, they need the same visibility.
One last question. Who cranked out the work on the hits you know you like? Now you know it was the women
women on the
behind the mic. Thank you for being here.